Okay, let's go straight to a Fox News alert. Another day of shutdown-related headaches for travelers at airports across the country, as hundreds of flights have already been canceled this morning.
Meanwhile, in Washington, lawmakers are trying to break the stalemate with a possible test vote tonight to reopen the government.
Madeleine Rivera joining us live from Reagan National Airport with the latest. Hi, Maddie.
Hi, good morning, Griff. Well, DCA felt the brunt of these FAA-mandated flight reductions yesterday and saw more delays and cancellations than any other airport in the world. And travelers are bracing for another day of headaches. Per the latest data from FlightAware, there have already been about 400 delays and more than 900 cancellations within and in and out of the U.S. This, by the way, happening with just a 4% reduction in major airports. Remember, that number is expected to go up to 10% by next week. But Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says he is considering increasing that number if the shutdown drags on.
This shutdown doesn't end relatively soon. The consequence of that is going to be more controllers don't come to work, and then we're going to have to continue to assess the pressure in the airspace and make decisions that may, again, move us from 10% to 15%, maybe to 20%.
So it looks like the Senate is heading into a rare weekend session to try and end this stalemate. Senate Republicans are hopeful that just enough Democrats may be willing to support a revised spending bill that would fund the government through sometime in January, would also fund the Departments of Agriculture, Veterans Affairs, and Congress until next fall.
The Democrats just have to take yes for an answer. We have a proposal that they have been reviewing and looking at now for several days, mostly with things that they asked for, including a normal appropriations process. Well, President Trump is more than willing to weigh in and to talk to the Democrats about path forward on how to fix the unaffordability and unsustainability problems of Obamacare, a problem the Democrats created. The President's more than willing to help them fix that, but not while the government is being held hostage.
Democrats, though, are divided, with some not willing to give up the fight on Obamacare subsidies. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer introduced a proposal that includes a one-year extension of those tax credits.
Democrats are ready to clear the way to quickly pass a government funding bill that includes health care affordability. Leader Thune just needs to add a clean one-year extension of the ACA tax credits to the CR so that we can immediately address rising health care costs. That's not a negotiation.
Senate Republicans have slammed the plan. Senate Majority Leader John Thune calling it a non-starter. Charlie, Rachel, and Griff.
Indeed, calling it a non-starter. Maddie, live from Reagan National Airport. Maddie, thank you. Yeah, GOP senators and Leader Thune wasted no time saying no thanks. Here's a little bit of what they said.
I think it's wrong for the Democrats to keep the government shut down over this $35 billion a year of subsidies.
I'm not going to keep giving taxpayer dollars to the 5 largest health care insurance companies under Obamacare to get the government open. This idea of flooding insurance companies for another year to open up the government is ridiculous, is political terrorism, and it needs to stop.
I listened to Senator Schumer's speech. Here's my reaction. God, please give me patience, because if God gives me strength, I'm going to need bail money. Remember the cantina bar scene in the original Star Wars? Well, that's what things are like in the Senate right now. It's an intergalactic freak show.
An intergalactic freak show.
Do you remember the Star Wars bar scene in the cantina?
Yeah.
It's Senator Kennedy. Nobody says it better. But look, it's really, make no mistake, this is a massive reversal for Democrats who from the very beginning said they're going to hold out no matter what. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, here's the deal. We're going to pass that clean CR with a one-year extension of the Obamacare subsidies and also a bipartisan committee to do long-term extensions of those subsidies. And that's why Republicans are saying no thanks.
And it does kind of make you wonder the fact that they're asking for so much, like a one-year extension, whether or not it's not like their view is, oh, well, this will be an opening salvo. If we end up with 6 months or 3 months or 2 months, then we'll make a deal with you. we'll see whether, from my conversations with members on the Hill, I don't think that Republicans have any interest whatsoever in negotiating with this right now. But it is also a very important reminder that when it comes to these subsidies and Obamacare, this is a reminder that Obamacare is a complete failure. The A is supposed to stand for affordability. Yeah. And if you have to take these temporary COVID subsidies and it doesn't work without them, then it kind of throws the affordability out the window.
It absolutely does. And I think most people, I'm listening to both of you break it all down and all the things that are happening behind closed doors and CRs and this. Most Americans aren't following it in that way. What they are following is, I need to get to my dad's funeral, and my flight was canceled. And people are feeling it at the airport because so many of the air traffic controllers are overworked, not showing up because they haven't gotten 2 paychecks now. And it's just a big strain on the system. And I think that actual real life pressure of a trip you have to take or a business meeting you need to get to, or, as I said, a funeral or wedding, those are the things, and especially as we approach Thanksgiving, that people are looking at. Meanwhile, President Trump reminding Republicans of how to fight like a Democrat. So he says it's time for the Republican senators to stop playing games with the radical left Democrats and terminate the filibuster. This is in his Truth Social post. He said, immediately open our country and pass great common sense legislation. And so what the president's saying is he sees that he has this window of time before he's out of office. And all of us can agree, because we're all around the same age, that we've never had a fighter in the presidency like President Donald Trump. We've never had a team like this. And so his idea is, let's get all this stuff put into law instead of executive orders that are going to get overturned. But to do that, we have to do it while we now have these majorities in Congress. And I have to tell you, I'm with the president on this. I know the senators like their, they like to do things in a different way. But I think this is the time.
You're
to
a house gal.
I'm a house gal.
Fortunately for our viewers, Charlie and I are going to do a deep dive later on the history of the filibuster. But you're exactly right, Rachel. President Trump saying Democrats are going to do it anyway.
That's right.
We might as well do it now, and it will benefit the Republican Party. But it is causing House Democrats to freak out. Jamie Raskin had this to say.
One of the things that he has been talking about for the last couple of days more intensely is getting rid of the filibuster. That's actually something that you wanted to do when Joe Biden was president and things were getting through the Senate.
Look,
so is that an area where you agree with him?
We don't need a procedural fix at this point. We need the Republicans to recognize that there's a health care crisis they've imposed on the country.
So you wanted the filibuster to be ended when Biden was president, but now, no?
I'm not in the Senate, so I've got no say in that.
And we can pull up clip after clip. AOC, also was fighting for. There are lots of Democrats that wanted the filibuster ended when they were in power, but now are a little less.
And as you point out, President Trump is going to be is a lot more keen to what the public opinion is about all of this, and he understands that frustration, and the frustration is going to get worse as we go on, and he is acutely aware that we can sit here and parse it all day long and point out that it is Democrats who are filibustering this, the CR, the paying the bills, Congress's bills. But at the end of the day, most people just, it's a pox on all their houses and they hate all of them.
Yeah.
President Trump is very acutely aware of that. And I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on both sides to do something about it. He's also...
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.